Borneman,
Present.
McClanathan,
Here.
Ross is absent, Parker,
Here.
Busker is absent, Brashaw,
Here.
Mysick,
Here.
and Berberay is also absent.
And if you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Alderman McClanathan.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Alderman McClanathan, the meeting's yours.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item on the list is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderperson Brashaw, seconded by Alderperson Mysick. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Public comments. Madam Clerk, did we have anyone signed in for public comments? Okay. Thank you, Chief. No public comments. Next gets us to item number 6, the presentation of a variety of funds by City Manager Bucas, specifically funds 21 through 29, 33, 35, 36, 51, 61, 74 through 76. Manager Bucas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to kind of briefly go over some of the funds that we're working on at this time. The first one is our downtown loan program. The proceeds from a bond that we did a couple of years ago is used to fund loans to businesses that need to expand or need additional capital to continue on with their projects. It's also used for site improvements. You'll notice that we're using the fund balance reserve transfers, which is basically the monies that we have left over from the program to fund this year's and next year's projects. Under line item number 21-00-544.08, we're using funds there to make our second payment for the City Hall demolition. And on the next line, under 21-00-545, we're anticipating spending those funds for the demolition of the Ave TIF books and game store, as well as the Airways property. And so that balances out.
Manager?
Yes.
On that slide, I'll say the third column, fiscal year budgets, 2020, January to December 12 month, and then projection to year end, January to December, a 12 month. What are the differences that we have in between those two, particularly looking at the demolitions with one at 200,000 and one at 275,000? How should we read those?
I'm sorry, can you repeat? You're looking at the actual as of August 31st?
Looking at, either way you want it.
Shoot. Uh-oh.
What I call column 3, maybe, fiscal year 2020 budget, January to December 12 month, and then 2
Yes.
over to that projection to year end.
Yes.
Can you describe the differences in those two columns there?
Okay.
Or how should we read those two columns?
Okay. The third column is what was our budget for this year. So this would be our budgeted numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And this column here is what we're projecting to end the year, where we're actually going to be at.
All right. And so then for the proposed 2021, out of this, we don't have anything for demolitions proposed in that. We're going to be using it just proposed for business assistance and financing costs?
That's what we're anticipating, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Next one is fire public safety. This fund is basically our smoke detectors program that the fire department goes out. We get donations, and not only from individuals but also from Red Cross, and we assist homeowners with that. So next project or next budget is a cemetery care fund. Again, this is where the funds come in from when we sell graves and openings, and it's put in basically in a trust fund here. We're not anticipating spending any money out of the trust, and we're letting this fund build up. Next item is the downtown TIF Fund. This fund is used for numerous projects that we have going on downtown. If you look at 25-00-544.03 site improvements, those funds are being used to make a payment towards Security First Title Company for a project they did tearing down a building next to their property. Also, a portion of that fund money goes towards the Hampton Inn. We're also paying off our fifth payment to Northern Illinois Service for a project that they did for us as well. And then $20,000 is being set aside by the city for facade improvements. And fund number 25-00914, that's basically our debt service for the curb and gutter program that we did a number of years ago and the city lights, as well as a debt service payment towards the bond 2015A that we used towards the Raleigh building. And fund 25-00915 is a bond debt principal payment on the 2018A bond, which we used to fund the downtown revolving loan fund program, and 916 is the interest that we pay on that bond. Next budget is the Lamm Road TIF project. There again, we're looking at and 544.01, should say 26-00544.01 professional services. About $350,000 of that is going towards the Greater Freeport Partnership funds that we pay to fund them. 2 lines down under site improvements, we have 2 redevelopment agreements with TriStar Metal that delegate a portion of those funds, and we're also looking at another site improvement grant to a developer that we've been working with as well. Under 26-00544.08 tax disbursement, those are funds that we're anticipating giving to the county to disperse to all the taxing districts as part of the surplus that was 25% surplus that was left over after the budgets are spent. In turn, we get part of that 25% back as well.
Manager?
Yes.
Going back up, I feel like I've been asking this question probably for 3 or 4 years, but what is the year that's we're going to see the increase for when the obligations to both Menards and Walmart drop off?
They already have.
Okay, that is included?
Yes.
All right. Is that, okay, and I can see where I'll talk to you later. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Chair,
Alderperson Bradshaw.
I just have a question for order. Under Lamm Road TIF Fund, is this under the All TIF Districts, Fund 24 through 29? I'm trying to
Yes.
find it. Okay.
Yes.
Does it have a number?
It's 26.
Thank you.
If you look at the first 2 numbers of any of the revenues or expenditures, that tells you what fund it is.
Oh, under revenue. Okay, thank you, sir.
And then I normally use like the last 3 digits because that tells me what line item I'm looking at, but I'm reading all of them off, but yes.
That helps me a lot. Thank you.
Okay.
Chair,
Alderperson Lysick.
Manager, a question on the balance reserve transfers. So when that money comes in, that's rolled over from the previous year? Or can you explain how that transfer takes place?
It's money that, if we have any money left over this year, it would go into our reserve fund for Lamm Road TIF. And if we need it in future years, then we would just transfer it over back into the operating fund.
Okay, thank you.
next one is the West Avenue TIF. Basically, majority of the money in line 270054.03 site improvements, that's a to be determined. We don't have any outstanding projects for this money right now, and that's why we have it set aside. So that's if something comes up. Under professional services, under 27-00544.01, that's basically another payment towards the Greater Freeport Partnership and some legal fees that we may encounter. And then again, the tax disbursement under line item 27-00544.09 is the 25% that we agreed to distribute from excess funds.
Question, Chair?
Alderperson Brescia.
The last part, can you repeat it? Did you say to excess funds or
Yes,
extra?
yes,
funds?
excess funds that we don't use this fiscal year.
Thank you.
The next fund is the Burchard Hills TIF Fund. It's fund number 28. And as you can see, it doesn't generate a lot of money. And basically, we're setting aside some money under professional services for legal fees and a small part of the payment we make to the Greater Freeport Partnership. The site improvements is to be determined, and the $1,600 would be the tax disbursement back to the county.
Manager?
Yes.
On any of these as we go throughout, for the proposed budget, if we get into a scenario where we have additional redevelopment that goes above the budgeted costs, we can use those funds that you're talking about for the tax disbursement. The tax disbursement's only in the event that we have the surplus at the end of the year. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Next budget is West Avenue TIF. It's fund number 27. I think I went the wrong way. You're right.
Meadows.
Okay, Meadows TIF, fund number 29. Here again, under financing costs, we have a redevelopment agreement that we're making a payment on, as well as the county 25%. And under site improvements, the $11,200 is a to be determined if some project should come up. Our capital projects fund is fund number 33. We're looking at about $120 in interest. Basically, money is set aside, is transferred from the general fund into this fund to, we have our sidewalk replacement program where we pay $1.50 per square foot towards somebody's sidewalk replacement, and we're budgeting $20,000 there. And then we also have our annual trail maintenance infrastructure improvements that we have. And this year we did increase it a little bit. We increased the Jane Addams Trail contribution from $9,030 to $16,500. This is try to smooth over some upcoming projects that we're doing. We have a number of bridges that need some repair work, and we do have a grant that's pending with the Department of Transportation to do some bridge work out there. And so we're increasing everybody's assessment so that we're not coming back next year and asking for $40,000 or whatever our match may be. We're going to try to build this up and keep it there because we do have a lot of bridge work to do.
Manager, who are all the parties that would be subject to that assessment?
It would be not only the city of Freeport, but the Freeport Park District and Stevenson County. We all share the same amount, and then the village of Orangeville pays 1/2 of what we pay.
Has the county indicated that they would also be responding to that increased assessment?
The indication we're getting is that they will. That's what they said last meeting. I think it's supposed to go before their county board. I think it's already been to the finance committee or one of their committees. It's supposed to be going to county board meeting, I think on October 15th.
Thank you.
The next item is our landfill closure. We have to continue to monitor our landfill and will be for a number of years. And I was doing a lot of testing out there for leachate and any other type of water issues or contaminants that may be recognized. In the past, we used money from our transfer station rent. We're still in negotiations with Morning and Gills on the transfer station. I'm being on the very conservative side. I did not budget any money from the rent this year. And I'm using a transfer from the general fund of $231,000 to meet our obligations on maintaining the landfill. The next budget is the Neighborhood Housing Fund, which is fund number 36. This is the money that we collect from property transfer tax. We're anticipating about $150,000 in revenue this coming year. And as part of our Community Development Block Grant Housing Rehabilitation Program that we applied for, $50,000 that says transfer out would be used as our match for that $500,000 grant. And then we have $96,900 set aside for demolitions on property that the city condemns. Under Health and Environment, that's fund number 51. This is basically our refuge and recycling collection. We do not collect enough money from the utility bills to pay the haulers that take our refuge, and so we're looking at a general fund transfer of $56,440 this year to meet that obligation. Fund number 61 is our health care fund. This is our health insurance for our employees. It's a $3 million budget, and it is balanced, and money comes from various sources to meet that obligation. The next item is fund number 74, the Foreign Fire Insurance Fund. This money comes from tax that is placed on insurance companies that do not have a headquarters in Illinois, but write insurance for homeowners or property insurance. This fund is basically controlled by a board called the Fire Insurance Board. We really don't have much choice in the matter, how the money's spent. We get the check and we have to turn it over to them. But they've been very cooperative in the past, and have worked with the police chief, who sits on that board as well, and determining what the needs are and supplementing some of the work that we do with the fire department. The drug forfeiture program is fund number 75, and basically any money we take in, we look at how it might be spent to fight drug trafficking in our community. And the last budget I have for tonight is our Tourism Promotion Fund, fund number 76. If you look under line item under expenses, line item 76-00-945, Greater Freeport Partnership, they receive $130,000 of the money that we take in, and we're also proposing again this year transferring to the general fund $25,000 for a communication specialist, help fund a communication specialist. And that's the budgets we have for tonight.
Just note, I appreciate in the neighborhood fund there, trying to balance both leveraging a significant grants and then also dedicating some to the properties that are too far gone and contribute to blights. I think that's a good balance there. What is the total amount of funds going to GFP out of the different funds that we've talked about tonight?
$450,000.
And that last part you said in regards to communication specialist, where else are we going to see something in regards to that out of the budget?
We'll be taking it out of part of it out of general fund, part out of water fund, part out of the sanitary sewer fund.
Okay, so this was obviously being the first night that we're talking about the budget for this year substantively. That's the first portion of the funds that we've seen something come out of it then.
That's correct.
Okay. Questions? Alderperson Borneman.
Manager, what were your thoughts on the pros and cons, or what is your position on hiring an internal communications, director or specialist versus contracting it out? I think I've had this conversation, but it was with the previous city manager. I don't think you and I have had this conversation.
No, we have not. But I feel that we should have somebody internal. That way we've got them on call 24 hours a day for any type of emergency that may come up. We could also use them for various other projects that we may be working on, where we go with a private contractor. You're basically paying for a specific service for a particular issue. Or this way, the person that we hire, they're here, they know how we work, what we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish, and I think it helps when we're trying to sell our city.
Where are you I remember we were pretty far down the road pre-COVID on that, and then obviously that was one of the first things on the chopping block when we were looking at changing our budget due to COVID and not knowing the impact on it. How high on your priority list is this rank compared to other positions, particularly getting the numbers of the Freeport Police Department back up from where they are right now, and other services and things of that nature?
Right. My first priority is the police department and the fire department. Make sure that they're fully funded with their personnel so they can operate. And then I'm looking at the street department. We have an opening there that we're looking to fill, and then the communications director.
Thank you. Other questions and comments?
Chair.
Alderperson Brashaw.
Thank you. Manager Bucus, I was listening and trying to pay attention to the exact line item, and I believe it was a fund balance transfer under health and environment for the shortfall to pay for garbage pickups. Was this something we had talked about before, that we were going to have a shortfall, or is this something that happened?
No, when we renewed our contract with Mornings and Gills, we knew we were going to have a shortfall, and the rates that were proposed, council thought they were too high. As we found from the feedback we received from the residents, the fees that we did in court that we did pass, they felt were too high because it was a big jump from about $12 to $16, and it should have been higher. And we're facing a shortfall. We have to remember is that a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot of people, there are a number of people who do not pay their bills or do not pay their bills on time. We have a number of people that vacant houses that they're not, for 1 year they have to pay their refuge and their water and sewer bills, and they're not. So we have the shortfall, but we still have to pay our refuge haulers for these houses.
Thank you, sir.
And I do recall, I think both at the time Manager Crow and you as director at the time both mentioning we softened some of the earlier years in regards to it, and you both said it's not going to cover it in regards to it, and you still have the torches and pitchforks, figuratively speaking. But yeah, you did mention it. We were going through the contracts.
This is really the first year that we've actually shown what we're supplementing. In past years, we never did, and this year we are. So that's why you're seeing, that's why it's a little bit of a shock that we are. But we have been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, it's good and transparent and reflects the reality of the situation, so makes sense. Other questions and discussions? We got about 4 minutes.
Chair.
Alderperson Borneman.
Thank you. The garbage and water bill, I know we've talked about creating a direct deposit and almost an incentive for people to switch to direct deposit systems so payments are more timely. It's kind of a broad question, but is there any update? I know last time we talked, we were transferring to a new program.
Right, we're still in the process of going to new software. Water will go online at the end of November. At the end of November, we're looking at our financial portion to go online November 2nd. So there's still some time. We have been putting flyers in the utility bills with information on how to sign up for ACH, which is the way we pull money out of people's accounts to pay for their bills. We've talked about the possibility of maybe giving somebody a discount, a $5 discount if they go through ACH versus paying in person or putting a check in the mail. We've also reduced the number of billing cycles from 10 to 2 with the new software coming up. So we're getting a lot more mail in at one time. So we really need to push the ACH program a lot harder than we have been.
And a follow-up question.
Go ahead.
Do you see switching to that program creating a less of a shortfall between the expenditures and revenue here in this fund?
I think it'll help. I think it'll definitely help with the cash flow, that we'll have the money, on a given day, because we normally pull the ACHs on a Friday, and we're looking at actually pulling them on the due date, but it will definitely help with our cash flow.
And did you have you mentioned 2 dates about when they would both be, what was the time frame of, you mentioned?
November 2nd, we're looking at having our financial software program up and running, and the end of November, having the utility department, the billing department up and running.
Thank you.
Any other questions under budget discussion, which we've gone into? And I combined 6 and 7 there. Hearing none, are there any public comments on the Finance Committee of the whole? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderperson Bradshaw, seconded by Alderman Misick. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, Kurt